Okay, Michael Medich.
All right. How did you first get involved with the OATA?
I first got involved by reading back in the early 90s. We used to send out newsletters, and in those newsletters they had these little forms called universal interest forms. And I thought about it, and I just filled one of those forms out and just checked a bunch of boxes. And one day I got a call from the president telling me I got put on the short and long-term goals committee, and that was probably around 91, and that was my first involvement.
Awesome. And what's your current involvement with OATA?
My current involvement with the OATA is now that I am on the finance committee, and I'm a former past president, and I still associate and work with the executive committee a little bit, but mainly right now I'm working on the GLADA Governmental Affairs and the NATA Governmental Affairs Committee.
Very cool.
I think the biggest change is the whole evolution of how it has come from when I first started in the mid-'80s, how everything was done via like an internship route to get your certification, and now how it's become more of a formal allied health field medical profession. Not to say that it wasn't back then, but I think there's more legitimacy to it, and I also think that there's more professionalism, and we're getting more young students, we're having more educational requirements, and I think it's been just a total plus and positive for the profession.
Nice. If you could change one thing in athletic training, what would it be?
I think the one thing that I would change if I could, and I had that magic wand to change it, is I'd like to see more athletic trainers at a younger age get involved, have the confidence to step up to the plate, get involved with some legislative activities, volunteer, and promote the profession. Most healthcare fields aren't afraid to toot their own horn and say that they're good, and I'd like to see more people advocating for the strengths of our profession.
I agree. Do you have any pearls of wisdoms for members?
I think the best wisdom I can say is one of my colleagues when I first got started gave me this quote: it's easier to make change when you're in the inside versus the outside. And I think getting involved, taking an active role, be proud of the profession, and want to make it a more professional profession, add more to it. The more you can build to it, the better it's going to be. Leave a brick when you're building the house of the profession. Do something for that.
I like that. I like that. What is one quote or phrase you are known for repeating throughout your career?
I think if you ask some of my students, one of the things I always would tell them is to shut up and quit thinking and just listen. Clear your head, get focused, see what you need to do, don't get all panicky. It'll come to you. And learn that strength of decision making. And I think that's really important.
Yeah, definitely. What are your favorite memories from being involved in the OATA?
My involvement with the OATA, I think the whole thing has been a great memory, because the people that work to get involved, everybody that I worked with, is kind of like family. You can look at all the people that have served on the committees, the executive committees, the members of the Hall of Fame. They're all like a close-knit family, and they work together, they care about one another, they have the same common goal. And when I always would go away to an OATA conference or work with the NATA, I felt that I was with an extended family, and I think that's important. And I think that's one of the strengths of the OATA too.
What is the biggest challenge you've seen or experienced in your career, either personally or for the profession overall?
I think some of the biggest challenges that we face is in our growth and how we're evolving, how we need to start looking for third-party reimbursement, how we need to start to look to expand the profession. So as you continue to grow, you're going to face more and more challenges. And as you continue to evolve as a profession, I think you're going to face more and more challenges. And as we enter new avenues and new arenas of the profession, different work sites, where we're branching out to, it's a new challenge. So as the evolution of the profession goes along, change goes along. We have to keep up with that.
Yeah.
So I think that's something that we have to always be aware of.
What is the best part of being an athletic trainer or being involved with the OATA?
I think the best part that I can honestly say is the people that I have worked with. The members of the OATA, the people that are associated with the committees are tremendous people. They're high quality people, tremendous character that it's still a learning experience for me. I look at them as part of my growth even today in the latter part of my career, and they challenge you, they work with you, they want you to succeed, they want the profession to succeed and to see the passion of it. And the other thing I think I like about athletic training, you have to give of yourself. And I think a lot of people in the leadership roles have given of themselves, not expecting anything in return other than seeing the advancement or to try to make a dent with the students as they're coming up. And I think that's pretty special.
Yeah. What does it mean to be an athletic trainer to you?
That's my chosen career, and it's something that I've taken very, very seriously, and it's something that is very meaningful to me, that I'm willing to do what I do on a daily basis to help the student athletes in my school, to help my patients, to try to get better. And I've always wanted to work in a high school setting. So working with the high school student athletes on a daily basis and trying to be a primary source of health care for them, being a resource for them, being a mentor to them, and being involved in their growth is what I see the role of an athletic trainer in my setting. So that's been very meaningful to me.
Looking back, would you change something about your career? And if so, what would it be and why?
I think the one thing that when I look back, I would have probably wanted to get involved earlier. And I would want to have tried to make a difference with the profession a little bit earlier. You know, I served on that committee, then I had a couple years where I kind of didn't do much, but I wish I would have, got involved sooner, took a more active role sooner. So I think that would be the one thing I would have changed. Instead of waiting 3 or 4 years to get involved after I became certified, I'd have tried and wanted to do it right away.
Were you an author, creator, or inventor of something? If so, what is it and how did it come about?
I would say no on all of those. I've done a little bits and pieces and did some speaking, but more often than not, I didn't go down that road. I kind of got more involved with the governmental affairs, got involved with the legislation type committees, and I was very strong in working with the athletic safety language, our concussion bill, and help getting the OATA to help promote that and working with the OHSA on that. So that's one of the things that I would say that I was instrumental in. Also being involved in creating the OATA PAC with a lot of other people, trying to get people to realize the need to that. So I think those were the things that I would say, maybe in a different route. It's just creating more opportunities in that way.
Yeah. Please tell me how you got interested in athletic training, and then give a brief synopsis of your career from as an undergraduate student up until present.
Back in the early 80s, I, participating in, your typical high school stuff. One of the coaches that I worked with showed me this advertisement for this Kramer first aid camp. And, he knew I was interested in athletics. He knew I was interested in medicine. So he showed me this little Kramer ad, and I looked over and it sounded interesting, and I took the little mail-in Kramer course, and just for the heck of it. And then I said, this is kind of interesting. And I had a cousin who played college football for Ohio State at that time, and got to talk to him about some of the athletic trainers that were there. And so then I decided to go to a couple student athletic trainer camps. I went to the Ohio State University camp with Billy Hill, Mike Borner, Linda Danielle, Bill Davis. They were very, very instrumental people in showing me the profession, and they helped get me hooked. And then a few weeks later, I went down to the Ohio University camp and met Skip Vossler. And Skip took a lot of his people under his wing, showed them the strengths of the profession, And, when I put all that together, I decided this is what I kind of want to major in. And I'll be perfectly honest, I didn't have that 4.0 grade point average out of high school. And I looked at a couple of universities, and Dan Wathen, athletic trainer at Youngstown State University, and I met, and I hit it off with him really well. I liked the facility, and he took a chance on me and gave me an opportunity to be a student intern. And that was back when he had the apprenticeship program. So everything was hands-on. There was no Katie. There was none of that. We covered sports your very first day. As a freshman student athletic trainer, I stayed in the dorm and covered 2-a-days from 5:30 in the morning till 9 at night. And we probably had 700 hours our freshman year of in training room. And I think when I graduated, I had almost 3,900 hours of internship.
Wow.
And that's not counting when you were alone on the road with teams. So we traveled on the road with teams by ourselves with no certified athletic trainer. We treated athletes by ourselves. At that time, for the whole university, there was only 2 certifieds for all the Division I AA sports.
Wow.
So a lot of responsibility was placed into the interns.
Yeah.
And I think that was a big growth experience for me. I don't think the students are exposed to that today, but having that opportunity to have that much responsibility early in my career of being an intern, I think was very instrumental. And of course, you took the classes that the NATA said that you had to take, and then you sat for your exam. And once I was there, Dan Wathen suggested, and he almost mandated all the student trainers get a degree in education. So we got a degree in education, and I got mine in the biological sciences. And that way he really liked the teacher athletic trainer route, because he saw that the needs are going to be in high schools. And little known that we're dinosaurs now, that there are not too many teacher athletic trainers left. And that's where the jobs were in the mid-'80s. So when I went and did my graduate assistantship, I ended up at OU with Skip, and he was very supportive and instrumental of me. And I ended up working through a high school there and had a great learning experience. I learned from my mistakes, I learned from my successes. But you were there. We did about 1,200 hours of internship on top of the classes. So there was a lot of involvement in the training room.
Yeah.
And then I progressed, ended up working as a clinical outreach athletic trainer in Fairfield County, and ultimately went to Westland High School in Columbus, where I've been a teacher athletic trainer for the last 20 years.
Wow.
So my whole career has been with the high school level students. And that's kind of where I've always wanted to be, because
Yeah.
I think you can make a difference with the high school students, because you are the resource there for them.
Yeah. Which was your first salary?
My very first salary as an athletic trainer was, as a student, we did work study, and they gave you what was equivalent to like 1/3 of your tuition. So I think I got $450 for the first year. And then my first salary position back in 1988, I think, was in the neighborhood of $19,000 a year.
Wow. How did you document things when you first started at the high school to now? Has your documentation changed at all?
It's a lot more thorough.
More thorough?
Yeah. Back in the early days, we would probably put things on a little card. If you remember, the physicals were only a little note card, not a 6 to 7 page document as they are now.
Wow.
And we did initial injury reports and nothing. I hate to say, we probably didn't even do soap note format. Sometimes in the older days, we would put the patient's name down, what happened to them, how we treated them, how we got a hold of the parents, and charted some things that way to the formal process now. I'm still old school. I don't use any of the software. I do weekly soap notes on the kids who are getting treatment, daily treatment logs, injury report forms, parent notification forms. I still do them by hand versus the computer version. So